Hi everyone. Hey Jay Baldwin 75. Welcome in. I am normally live in the mornings, but I got off early today, and so I thought I would come and see if I can gather an audience to talk about my family's wellness journey. It's a pretty amazing one. Wonderful results. My whole family is getting healthy, and I love it. I couldn't be happier with that. I got some hair doing some crazy stuff right here. So I hope you'll stick around. That white hair. Love the screen name. Hey, how are you? Where are we watching from? Terry Pool 42. Nice to meet you. Hi, welcome in. I usually am live in the mornings, but I got off early today. So yay me. I'm excited to be here this afternoon. Hi, Gabby. How are you? Hi, Karen. Karen Sargent 26. Welcome in, everybody. Where are y'all watching from? I hope that you'll join the live. I'm hoping to have some engagement. I'm going to be talking about how I managed to get my father, mother, sister, myself, my family off of some of these right here. How I managed to do that. I am not medically trained. I'm not a physician. I'm not an RN. I'm not medically trained in any kind of way, but I enjoy sharing our story because we're hoping that in me sharing our story, we will be able to help some of our viewers find the same thing that we have found. We have totally changed our health and wellness around, and it's an amazing story, and I love to share it with everybody. So I hope that y'all will stick around. Mimir, welcome. Barbara, hello. Great Minds, hey, welcome. Bridget, Debbie, welcome in. Debbie Martin, welcome in. Is it Layla? That's so pretty, I love that. I am Max Gold. Hi, welcome in. Welcome in, everybody. I'm so glad that you're here. Normally, I'm with a client, and normally we would be having lunch or out shopping. It's, let me see, 3:07 here in Texas. And normally I would be out with a client, but I got off early today, so I'm kind of excited to be here. Hi, Tony Amal 285, Pammy Zook, Krista, how do you say that last name? Krista Micho? Mary Miller, I'm so sorry if I'm chopping up your names. Claudia, hi Karen, Teresa, hi, welcome in everybody. I hope you'll stick around. I'm here to talk about my family's wellness journey. And when I say family, I don't mean husband, children. I mean elderly father, elderly mother, sister, older brother, younger brother, cousins, and then of course so many friends because they all want to know what we're doing because we're all getting healthy and it's amazing. So I start every day by drinking a Unamate tea, and that's what I'm going to mix right here in front of y'all. This is how easy it is. I've already had one today. My first meal was at lunch. I've already had lunch. I went to lunch with my mother. And now I'm going to mix my second tea of the day, and I'm going to share with y'all what that looks like for my family. I have been able to rally my family to go on a wellness journey in hopes that all of us would be able to come off of some medications and see some of our chronic symptoms go away. And as you can tell by my infographic on the screen, you can tell what I'm going to be talking about. My father used to be one of these statistics right here, and so did my sister, and actually I was too, and I'm going to talk about that. So you're going to want to stick around because I'm going to share my dad's story, my mother's story, my sister's story, and they're all different because our health, all of us were at different places in our life as far as our health goes. My parents are turning 80 in August, and I am 57. My sister is in her 60s, and we have all been able to improve our health so much that we have been able to come off of these right here. And so I'm so excited to share that with y'all. So let me give this a good shake and then I'm going to take a sip of it. Hi, Sandy. How are you? Charlotte. I don't know how to say that. Is it Charletta? Charletta Cather? Okay, I think I figured it out. Tracy Teller. Jose Arroyo 735. Hi, how are y'all doing? April, Rosie. Oh, Rosie, I love your screen name. That's so cool. I love that. Let me get a taste really quick. I think I forgot to put the salt in it. I like to put Celtic salt, Himalayan salt, and if I'm out of those, Redmond salt. Actually, this is my first choice. Then Celtic, and then Himalayan if I'm out of those two. And it just gives it a little bit of extra zing because this is a lemon flavored tea. And I just like to put the salt in it to give it just a little bit extra because I'm just that way. ZB, hello. Sandy, hi, how are you? Indy, welcome. Mary Jane Foster 3, welcome in. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate that, Mary Jane. Thank you so much. Love 77E, welcome in. User 2366. Lewis, welcome in. Betty, welcome. Hi, everybody. Okay, that is so much better. I love the salt in it. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm hoping that this audience is a little bit more awake and engaging than my morning audience. My morning audience can tend to be a little quiet because they're still sipping on their coffee and they're trying to wake up. But you know, here in Texas, it's 3:12 in the afternoon. And so I'm hoping that y'all are already awake and you've already had your coffee and hopefully we'll get some engagement. My first question that I want to ask y'all, and you can ask me questions if you want to along the way, but my first question to you is who that is watching, who is suffering or knows someone that is suffering with either prediabetes or diabetes? Or are you suffering with either of those? Prediabetes or diabetes? Are you suffering or is anyone you know suffering and on medication for either of those? Perpetual Frembo? Welcome. Andrew Kerr. Hello. Dorothy Williams. Welcome. I can't even read that one. DEHKAMARAMIN. Welcome. Sherry King, 128. Hi. Leyland 035. That's a cool name if that's your name. Leyland, is that your name? That's a cool name. I like it. Let's see. Mala Puni 02. Some of these are a little bit difficult to read. Lanina, welcome. Debbie Bryan, welcome. Debbie Bryan, welcome in. Okay, so who is suffering from type 2 diabetes or prediabetes? Because I had prediabetes. I fell under this category right here. I was part of this statistic. 88 million people in the United States of America have prediabetes and 8 out of 10 people don't even know it. And I was one of those. I didn't know it. My cardiologist had kind of mentioned it in one of my doctor visits, one of my many doctor visits, but he just kind of mentioned it and then he kept going. He didn't sit there and, hey, let's talk about this. Let's try to figure out what we can do. Let's get to the root problem. No, because he's just not trained that way. He is not trained that way. He's trained to treat symptoms with the use of medication. And if you talk to any physician, any doctor, and ask them how much training did you have in nutrition and how food can affect our body, and they will tell you less than 2 hours. And so what doctors don't know, they don't know. It's not their fault. It's just they're doing what they were trained to do, right? And so that doctor, he was a cardiologist, and he had kind of mentioned to me that I might be pre-diabetic, that I might have insulin resistance, and that kind of freaked me out because although I didn't know anything about insulin resistance, I knew it had something to do with diabetes. I knew how to spell the word, but I didn't know anything beyond that. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm sharing my story. Hi, Cynthia. My sister's name is Cynthia. Kenyatta, that's a beautiful name. Kenyatta Wyatt. I love that. Harvey Herring, welcome. Fabulous Me 550, welcome. Murray 30, welcome. Hey dude, how are you? Hey Sue, how are you? Welcome in, y'all. So let me take you back to the beginning. Almost 15 months ago, I was getting close to my 56th birthday. And I wasn't really happy with my health. I was actually pretty disappointed in myself. And I was having a lot of red flags, chronic symptoms that were going on, and didn't know what to do about it. I knew that my birthday was coming up, and I didn't want to celebrate it because I'm like, why do I want to celebrate this? Because I don't feel good at all. Like, I was waking up feeling cruddy every single day. I used to wake up with headaches every single day. I had bloating after every meal. My skin was splotchy. My hair was falling out like crazy. I had really bad brain fog. And if you can relate to the brain fog, please type brain fog in the comments, because I don't think I'm the only one that suffers with brain fog. I used to have really bad shoulder and neck pain, and I was told by a different doctor that that was because of menopause, because women that are going through menopause, a lot of them suffer frozen shoulder, and that's why I had that pain. But I didn't just have pain there. I had pain in my hips and in my knees and in my hands. I could not make a fist in the morning. My joints were very stiff and achy. It was difficult for me to get out of bed. I was waking up in the middle of the night 2 to 3 times a night to go to the bathroom. That is not normal. That's a red flag. That's your body screaming out, hey, knock, knock. Is anyone home? Is anyone paying attention to this body here? Because I was not paying attention to my body. I ignored the red flags. I ignored the warning signs. I also had swollen ankles, swollen knees. I was 50 numbers more on the scale. I used to be a size 14. I am currently a size 6. I am 50 numbers on the scale less since I've gone on this all-natural wellness journey. What else did I have? Let's see, I had high blood pressure. I used to be on 3 of these, 3 different medications for my high blood pressure. And that was just kind of covering up the symptom that I was having. I wasn't getting to the root cause of what was going on. Let's see. I just want to make sure I'm not missing any comments. And I want to welcome everybody. Welcome in, everybody. I appreciate you being here. And so when my birthday came around in January of last year, I didn't want to celebrate it. I was just like, I feel like I'm 20 years older. Like, I literally felt 20 years older than what my age was. And I wasn't proud of that. I was just like, what is going on with you, girl? Every single time you have a birthday, you collect weight. Every single time you have a birthday, you collect another symptom, another chronic symptom added to the list, right? And so I wasn't happy. I was starting to show signs of many bouts of depression, and I'm not prone to depression. I was starting to show signs of anxiety, and I've never dealt with anxiety before. These were new things that were happening. There were red flags that were going on. I used to have dark skin on my elbow and behind my neck. That is a sure sign of insulin resistance. I used to have skin tags right here on my collarbone. That is a sure sign of insulin resistance. My belly was starting to grow outward. How many of you can relate to that alone? If you can, type in belly in the comments. My belly was starting to grow outward. All kind of things were going wrong, and I was ignoring the warning signs. And now looking back, I was like, man, I had about 10 to 15 warning signs that I was ignoring. And I ignored it. Thank you, Ophis. Belly. Your belly is starting to grow outward. Mine was too. That is a definite sign of insulin resistance. And I was just ignoring all these things because it didn't kill me and I wasn't bleeding. And I thought, well, I'm not bleeding. I'm not dead. So, I just carry on, right? But what was really happening, and because my cardiologist kind of whispered it, and then he kept on moving past the topic, I discovered that I was suffering from insulin resistance. And at the time, I didn't know how serious that was. But what I know now is that pre-diabetes can turn into type 2 diabetes. 34.2 million people in the United States of America suffer with diabetes. 88 million are pre-diabetic. And 8 out of 10, let me scoot this over a little bit, right here, 8 out of 10 people that have pre-diabetes, they don't even know that they have it. They're walking around, it's like a silent killer, kind of like high blood pressure, because the symptoms aren't strong enough to get your attention. Other than I had really bad high blood pressure, and that should have been like a huge red flag, like a Texas-sized red flag to me, because high blood pressure and low blood pressure, they don't just happen. There's a reason why you have high blood pressure. There's a reason why you have low blood pressure. If you have high blood pressure, put it in the comments if you have high blood pressure, because I know several people that suffer with high blood pressure, and that is a sign of insulin resistance. I didn't know this. So I've been on this wellness journey for about a year and a half, and I have come so far in my wellness journey. Like, I used to be on 3 different medications for my high blood pressure. 3 different ones. And I no longer have to take them anymore. I've been taken off of them because I don't need them anymore. My blood pressure is not high anymore. My blood pressure was severely high a few years ago. And I have been able to turn that struggle bus around. Other things that I don't experience anymore as a result of going on my wellness journey is that I don't have the headaches anymore. I used to wake up every day almost with a headache. It was so annoying. My belly is not sticking out anymore. Number 1, Grammy, hi, welcome in. I'm not suffering with all the things that I just mentioned. I've been able to turn that struggle bus around in reverse in the opposite direction. And when I started my wellness journey, I knew that I was going to have to, just because of all the research that I had done, I knew that I was going to have to make some lifestyle changes. And one of the lifestyle changes that I wanted myself to do was I wanted to incorporate delayed eating, or some people call it fasting. I knew that that was going to be a key component to my wellness journey being successful, because I had already done all my research, and I was listening to the nurse that introduced me to a couple of tools that helped me to stay on track. Because if I was going to depend on my own willpower, that wasn't going to work. Hold on just a second. I've got to adjust the temperature. I'm upstairs and it's a little bit warm up here, so hold on just a second. Okay, I'm coming. Sorry. I'm upstairs. Ouch. That hurt. Oh. I'm upstairs in my townhome, and it tends to be a little bit warm up here. Ow, I just scraped my toes on this wooden chair, the roller. That hurt. Okay, so I knew that I was going to have to make some lifestyle changes if I wanted to see improvement with my health. Now, if I didn't want to see improvement, everything was just going to stay the same. But I was at the point in my life, I had just turned 56. I was at the point in my life that I was realizing that my health was deteriorating right before my very eyes. I was on 3 medications that were causing side effects, and I didn't want to go on another medication. I didn't want to go on a 4th one. And I was starting to realize that if I didn't do something and do something quick, I was headed towards diabetes, type 2 diabetes. I didn't want that. I didn't want anything that came with it. My sister had it, my dad had it. I have friends that have it. I did not want to have anything to do with it. But I also knew that I had to make the changes. If I didn't want to experience type 2 diabetes, I was going to have to make some changes, right? So, a couple of things that I changed. I stopped snacking all day long. But let me tell you why, okay? Now, if you've not followed me and you're not with me on my morning lives, you know my story. I tell it almost every morning. I get on lives. I get on TikTok Live every morning, Monday through Friday, between 8 and 8:15, and I talk about my journey. I talk about the things that I'm doing. I talk about the tools that I use. I talk about that I've lost 50 numbers on the scale. I talk about how it's helped my dad to turn his struggle bus around when it comes to type 2 diabetes, as well as my sister. I talk about how I've helped my dad, mom, sister, brothers, cousins, friends, everybody to start their own wellness journey, and how I've helped people come off of these right here. And it's been an amazing journey. And I had no intentions of being a TikTok account that goes live and talks about wellness and my story and my dad's story, my mom's story, my sister's story. I really had no intentions of doing all of that. It just kind of fell in my lap because we've had such great success. We've come off of several of these. My dad has come off of 10 of these. He was on 14 different medications and he's come off of 10. And so I started TikTok Lives. As soon as I got to 1,000 followers, I started TikTok Lives, and I thought, I can't keep this to myself, because I know there are people out there that were feeling just like I was, not wanting to celebrate a birthday because you feel 20 years older. That's where I was. I was feeling 20 years older. And so I came across a nurse. She's an RN. She's a diabetes educator. Although I didn't have diabetes, what she was saying was making sense, because you don't just jump to diabetes. You're normal, and then you're pre-diabetic, and then you can go a couple of ways. You can go type 2, you can even, there's a type 3. Alzheimer's and dementia is now tagged type 3 diabetes. And I didn't want to have anything to do with that party at all. And so in listening to that RN, she has educated me like I can't even tell you. I will be forever grateful, because she has changed the life of myself and several family members. And so that's what I want to talk to you about today. So a couple of things that I changed. Number one, I learned from her that I was snacking too much. Yeah, I was snacking too much. I had M&Ms in my nightstand on a regular basis. That was my favorite snack. That, Hershey Kisses, and the little chocolate mints that they give you at Olive Garden, whatever those mints are called. I always had those in my nightstand in my bedroom. And when I went to work, I always had a drawer stacked full of snacks for me to enjoy. But then I love sharing. Sharing is caring. I would share with my coworkers as well. And so I learned from her that I was snacking too much. And why? Why was that a problem? Well, she taught me that when we eat, our glucose and our insulin spike. And our pancreas has to send in the troops. And the troops is your insulin. The pancreas secretes insulin, and its job is to take the glucose out of the bloodstream and usher it to the cells for energy. Our body needs energy. Our cells need energy, right? And so over time, I've had 56 years to train my body to be insulin resistant. That means that my insulin was staying elevated all the time. And it was because I was eating all the time. I would have breakfast, I would get to work and I would have a snack, or I would even pick up a snack on the way to work, and then I would have another late morning snack. Then at work, it was time for lunch. And then after lunch, about an hour and a half later, I was hungry again and I was having a little snack. And sometimes they were even healthy snacks. There's no such thing. And then right before work, I would grab a snack and I would eat another snack. I'd go home, have dinner, and then have 2 late snacks in the evening. So as you can see, my body never had time to relax and come down from the glucose and the insulin spikes because those 2 things spike when we eat. I was eating all day long. I was grazing like a cow. I was having snacks and meals, snacks and meals, snacks and meals all day long. And so one of the things that she encouraged me to do was to take snacking out. That alone was huge. Because if you think about it, if I was having 2 snacks after breakfast, 2 snacks after lunch, and about 2 snacks after dinner. Y'all can relate. I know you can. Y'all love potato chips just like I do, and y'all love chocolate candy bars and M&Ms just like I do. Y'all love donuts and ice cream and pizza and pasta just like I do, right? But if you think about it, if you just removed the snacks alone from your daily schedule, you'd be surprised what can happen to your body. So that was one thing that she encouraged me to do, was just remove the snacking, right? The other thing she encouraged me to do, and it kind of went hand in hand with number 1, was that she said you're gonna have to take sugar out of your diet. Sugar is your enemy, right? Sugar is your enemy. When you take sugar, snacking, out of your diet, out of your schedule, out of your everyday eating schedule, it's amazing how the inflammation kind of goes away and you don't feel the pain quite like you used to. Like waking up every day with pain, that became a thing of the past pretty quickly when you just do those 2 things. The other thing she encouraged me to do was to eat more fiber. Well, I am not one to go to the grocery store and buy all kind of vegetables and lettuce to make salads, to make sure that I get enough fiber before every meal. I'm just not that person, and I'm sure there's plenty of you that you can do that. Hi, Fit Dad, how are you? Kelly, hello. Amy, hi, how are you? Who else is here? PRET, welcome. Hi, Brandy. I'm not that kind of person. So I don't have a ton of vegetables and a ton of lettuce, a ton of anything like that in my refrigerator because I'm not that disciplined to, number 1, go to the grocery store, buy all the things for a salad, number 2, prepare it, and then number 2, eat it before every meal or every snack. Because in order to get enough fiber, I feel like we would have to eat 2 Texas-sized salads before every meal and every snack in order to get enough fiber for our body, what we need. Excuse me. And I'm not that good. I love salads, don't get me wrong. I love salads, but I just don't have the time to prepare 2 Texas-sized salads before every meal and every snack in order to get enough fiber into my body, into my system. And so when she schooled me on that, I had to take it in and I had to absorb it. And I was like, can I do this? Is this really sustainable for me, my schedule, my life? Can I really do that? Can I really say no to the M&Ms, the donuts, the Doritos, the Fritos, the pasta? There is this donut place in Lake Worth, and I'm in Texas, in Lake Worth. And it's called Parlor Donuts, and they have the best donuts. And I'm glad I don't live over there anymore because I would be at that Parlor Donut shop several times a week on the way to work. And when she started teaching me all this, I got to thinking, I don't know if I can do all that. I don't know if I can make sure I have 2 Texas-sized salads before every meal. I don't know if I can say no to the donuts and say no to the pasta and say no to the M&Ms and all of that. I don't know if if I can do that. It was a challenge. And so then the more that I listened to her, the more knowledge I gained. I learned from her what insulin resistance was. I learned from her why I had insulin resistance, because when we're snacking and eating all day, the insulin and the glucose don't have time to come down. It takes about 3 to 4 hours after you eat a meal for your insulin to come down, depending on what you ate. And if we're constantly elevating it, which that happens when you eat, if we're constantly elevating it, we're just training ourselves to become a diabetic. We're training ourselves to become a diabetic. And I learned that through her, and I did not want to do that, because when we have type 2 diabetes, we're at a higher risk, and you can read it right here on the graphic. I have a big one. We're at a risk for blindness, kidney failure, heart disease, stroke, loss of toes, feet, and legs. I don't know about you, but I need my toes, and I need my fingers and my legs and my arms. I need those. I don't want to be at a high risk for stroke. I don't want to be at a high risk for heart disease. I don't want to be at a high risk for kidney failure or blindness. And those things are a possibility when you have type 2 diabetes. And I don't want to be at a high risk for those things. So I knew I had to do something, because I was turning 56 at the time. I'm not exactly a spring chicken. And so I needed to make some corrections if I wanted to improve my life, my quality of life. I'm upstairs right now. A year and a half ago, I couldn't climb these stairs without holding onto the rail and literally pulling myself up. Because number one, I was heavier, 50 numbers on the scale heavier. And number two, I just didn't have the strength or the muscles, or even the energy to pull myself up the stairs. So it was rare when I came upstairs. Now I come upstairs all the time. I can go up and down the stairs, and I don't have to worry about it. Like, oh, I got to pull myself up those stairs. It was miserable. I was miserable, and I'm embarrassed to admit that. But I'm hoping that the right person that needs help is listening to me this afternoon. So I learned a lot from the nurse. She recommended some books to me, and I ordered them. This one is in my showcase, so you can order it through my showcase, but it's called Why We Get Sick by Dr. Benjamin Bikman. I actually get to hear him in person in November in Orlando, and I'm so excited about it. He wrote this book, Why We Get Sick, and he takes you through why we are all chronically sick. And a lot of the chronic symptoms and dis-ease that so many of us are experiencing is because of insulin resistance. And I know you hear about it all the time on the internet, right? Everyone's talking about it. Why do you think everyone's talking about it? Because we're all chronically sick. I mean, do you know a person that isn't on a single medication, that wakes up with no pain, that doesn't have any kind of inflammation or any kind of health issues whatsoever? I don't know any. Like, all the people that I know, they complain about one thing or another: high blood pressure, obesity, arthritis, bursitis. I hear people complaining about autoimmune disease. That's a huge one. Depression, anxiety. There's even songs about anxiety. If you're on TikTok, you know, you've heard it. But why are we getting sick? I highly recommend this book, Why We Get Sick by Dr. Benjamin Bikman. You can find it in my showcase. So the nurse that I was listening to, she recommended that book, and she recommended a couple others too. I ordered them. I became her student. Every single time she was online, I was listening to her. We later became acquainted with each other, and we shared phone numbers and email addresses, and we were going back and forth, and I was learning from her. Every single time she would do a video, I would listen, I would take notes, and I've learned so much from her. And so I knew that my will could not possibly do what she was asking me to do, because I love food. I love food. I love my carbs. I love my chocolate. I have a sweet tooth, but I also have a salty craving as well. And so I had it both coming at me, right? And so one day I was watching her videos, and she was talking about a system, a wellness system that she had started, and she put her mother on it, which, by the way, her mother in the past had really bad heart health. Like really bad heart health. Like she was in a bad way, and she put her mother on this health system. And that got my attention because, like, if she's going to put her mother on this, who has major heart issues, like a walking time bomb, right? If she's going to put her mother on this, who she loves dearly, then I can trust her. That was my thought process. I can trust her. And so she never gave me a reason not to trust anything that she was saying. Like, she was legit. Like, she was so passionate in her educating the general public about insulin resistance and what we can do about it. So of course she recommended stop snacking, take snacking out, take sugar out. The other thing that she had recommended to me was add more fiber. That was number 3. And again, I'm not the kind of person to go grocery shopping and buy all the lettuce and all the cucumbers and tomatoes and onions and eggs and all the things to put in a salad to get my fiber in, because I would have to make like Texas-sized salads and have them before every single meal and snack to get enough fiber in my body, right? So I needed help. And that's where the system that she was recommending, she's an RN, she recommended me the system, and I took a chance and I ordered it because I was desperate for change. And if it helped her mother, who had major heart issues, then surely it could help me. I was desperate because I was going into my late 50s not feeling good and feeling like I was 20 years older than what I was turning. And so I had to get serious. So I ordered the system. It came in the mail. It sat on my it sat on my table, my dining room table, for a couple of weeks. I was afraid of the box. I was like, if I open the box, I have to use it. If I open the box and I have to use it, I might fail. And if I fail, I'm going to look silly in front of everybody. And I don't want to look silly in front of everybody. I don't want to fail. But 2 weeks went by. I opened up the box. I did an unboxing on TikTok even. I thought, well, I'm going to make myself accountable to my viewers. I'm going to open up the box in front of my viewers so I can be accountable to them. So I did it. I did an unboxing. I showed what came in my system in the box. And this bottle was one of the things. And then I got some tea packets and I got some fiber packets. Because what she discovered was that there was a system out there that was created by Rexall Drugs. Rexall has been around since 1903, and they came up with a system. They got some metabolic scientists together, Dr. Benjamin Bickman being one of them, and they discovered that if we take in more fiber and we drink this tea, and it's all natural, vitamins, minerals, fiber, food, plant, food, right? If we take these things and we incorporate them into our daily schedule, like she was recommending, it's a powerhouse of tools. And I have discovered that because I don't have the headaches. I don't have the shoulder and neck pain. I don't have the bloating. I'm down 50 numbers on the scale. I don't have the splotchy skin. My hair is not falling out like crazy. I don't have the dark skin behind my neck and on my elbows. I don't have the bursitis in my hips. I don't have the arthritis in my hands. I don't wake up in the middle of the night 2 to 3 times a night to go to the bathroom. I don't have inflammation. I don't have swollen ankles, and I don't have swollen knees. All because I listened to that nurse who is passionate about helping people. She helped her mother. It worked for her mother, and she just ran with it. She started sharing it with everyone and anyone that she could, and I was one of those people. And I trusted her because she said it helped my mom to come off of several medications, and they offer a 90-day money-back guarantee. And I thought, what have I got to lose? Like, I'm desperate. I'm tired of feeling the way I feel. And so I took a chance and I ordered it. I used it, and I've never looked back. And this is why I get on TikTok and I tell everybody about our family story. Oh, something just something just went into my eyeball and I have a feeling it was an eyelash. Hopefully I can just like pop it out. Okay, sorry. There, I think it came out. Okay, so it is a Unamate tea. I drink 2 of these every day. In the morning, I get up. I don't eat my first meal until about 12:30 or 1. And while I'm delaying my eating, I sip on this Unamate tea until lunchtime. When lunch gets here, I'm usually out with a client every single day for lunch. And so I will then, right before I eat my food at the restaurant, I will mix up this fiber packet. These are my tools. 2 tea packets and 1 fiber packet, and that's all I did to get rid of all the chronic symptoms that I had. That's it. That's all I've done. I still eat the same foods. I have food freedom. The fiber gives me satiety. The fiber helps me to feel fuller, longer. So after I have my fiber and then I eat my meal, I'm not getting hungry an hour and a half later like I used to and looking for snacks to eat. The tea takes away the food noise. So in the morning, I'm not thinking about what am I going to eat today? I need a snack. I need breakfast. What can I go to the refrigerator and get? What can I eat? I'm not thinking about that because the tea takes the food noise away. The tea has chlorogenic acids, saponins, theobromine, antioxidants. It has vitamins, minerals, prebiotics. The 2 of them together are a powerhouse of tools. And this is how I've been able to improve my health. Now let's move on to my mother. My mother has suffered with autoimmune disease for the past 6.5 years. It came out of nowhere. And she was put on a medication, and the doctor told her, you will have to take this medication for the rest of your life. And so for the past 6.5, 7 years, I've been taking my mother to the doctor to get her blood work done and to get her prescription renewed for her autoimmune disease. My mother was the first family member that I introduced this system to. And I'm so happy to report to you that my mother is 79 years old. She takes 0 medications. She was on autoimmune disease medication and she was on high blood pressure medication. She no longer falls under the guidelines of someone that suffers autoimmune disease. She no longer has to take her autoimmune disease medication or her high blood pressure medication. She also was experiencing arthritis, bursitis, neuropathy. She no longer suffers with any of that. So it helped my mother. Moving on, I introduced it to my sister, my older sister. My older sister was a type 2 diabetic, and she was having to take injections when injections could no longer be found because people were now taking them for weight loss instead of for diabetes like they were meant to be taken for. She was a type 2 diabetic. Not anymore. She started the system and she no longer falls under the guidelines of someone who is labeled a type 2 diabetic. She doesn't have to take the medication or the injections for that anymore. She no longer has to take her high blood pressure medication. She no longer suffers with any of the symptoms with either of those anymore. Then we moved on to my dad. My dad is a 22-year military veteran. He served in Vietnam. He was exposed to Agent Orange, and he has Parkinson's as a result. My father also ate his way into type 2 diabetes, and he's had diabetes for 40 plus years. He also suffered with diverticulitis, IBS, high blood pressure, depression, anxiety, you name it, he had it. We started my dad on the system out of absolute need. He was in a bad way last year, right around April, and he was in and out of the emergency room. He was having all kind of chronic issues all at the same time. His body was starting to shut down. I remember thinking, I don't know if my dad's going to be here another month. I had already started the system. My mother had just started. My sister had just started. And I went to my dad and I said, Dad, if we don't do something quick, you're not going to be here in another month. He was that bad. And so had a long talk with him, told him that we had to change some of his bad habits, that was contributing to his poor health. And so he agreed, kicking and screaming, but he agreed. He agreed to incorporate the system into his everyday life. We started him gently because he was so fragile, and we weren't sure how his body was going to tolerate the fiber because he was just so bad. He was so bad. And so we gently introduced him to it, just like I would a child. We gave him a third of the fiber packet in 6 to 8 ounces of water, and we introduced it to his system that way. And his body reacted well to it. And so then we bumped it up to half of a packet and then the full packet. And before you know it, within 4 months, I have my father's before and after video pinned in my on my TikTok page. His video is pinned. It's a before and after of him. And the before photo, it looks like the life is just being sucked out of him. He looks really gray and ashy. He doesn't look good at all. 4 months on this system. And the after picture is at the 4-month mark. My father is no longer a type 2 diabetic. He no longer suffers with IBS, diverticulitis, neuropathy, headaches, high blood pressure. He no longer suffers with any of that anymore. And it's just because he had insulin resistance that was causing all this drama. That's why he was a type 2 diabetic, because his body was insulin resistant. And when you get to the root cause of all the drama, insulin resistance being the root cause, it's amazing to watch a body heal and become healthy again. So I'm happy to tell you that my dad used to be on 14 medications. Many of you can relate. He has been taken off of 10 of the 14 medications. Now, he's almost been on this system a year now. And to say that it gave my dad his life back is an understatement, because he was hanging on by a thread. It's given him his life back. It's given him a better quality of life. He's still bedbound. He still suffers with Parkinson's. But even with that said, his Parkinson's symptoms don't seem to be as exaggerated as they were prior to starting the system. Like, for example, before starting the system, my dad's voice was at a whisper. Now, my dad's voice is more normal. He can speak in a normal tone. Before, it was just a whisper. Before the system, my dad had headaches almost every single day. After starting the system, the headaches are gone. Before starting the system, my father could not lift his leg up from the bed, from the mattress. He's bedbound, and he's in a hospital bed. After the system, my dad not only can lift his legs from the mattress, but with the help of his physical therapist, they've been able to get him in a Hoyer and transfer him from the Hoyer to a wheelchair and into the living room to sit in a recliner. He couldn't do that a year ago. We couldn't even think about asking him to do that because he was just so stiff and he had no muscle tone whatsoever. And so we've had a physical therapist to come in and work with him because we have seen such great improvement. We thought, okay, let's try this. Let's see if we can get him up in the hospital bed to a sitting position on the Hoyer, transfer him to a wheelchair, from a wheelchair to a recliner in the living room. My dad has only known the 4 walls in his bedroom for the past 3 years because he's been confined to the hospital bed. We could have never, ever, ever, ever thought about getting him up into the Hoyer, into a wheelchair, and into the living room onto a recliner. Never. And now he's able to do that. He can lift his legs up off of the bed now. He can move his arms above his head now. He can speak better. He just has better cognitive function. He doesn't have brain fog like he used to. I would go see my dad and sometimes it was a blank stare. And he would call it his floating episodes. He said, I just feel like I'm just floating. You know, he wasn't there. No one was home. And now you can go visit him and he can have a conversation with you. There's no more floating episodes. The brain fog is gone. And so when I say that his Parkinson's symptoms have improved, they have. They truly have. So it's been an amazing journey for my dad. And so I'll forever be grateful to that nurse that took the time to come out on social medias and educate anyone who would listen, because I was one of those listening. And she grabbed my attention. And because of me taking action and not just sitting on the couch and, oh, well, you know, I'm just going to listen to this video, I took action. And because I took action, I've been able to help my family's wellness improve. Their health has improved tremendously. And it didn't just stop there, because once we started like one family member after another improving and coming off of medications, then I was like, okay, I got to keep going. And I started posting photos on FB, and I started posting photos on IG, and I started posting photos of my parents and their journey and what they used to look like and what they look like now. And people that I've known ever since second grade have been reaching out to me saying, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? Because you used to be a little bit bigger. You're shrinking. Yes, I've gone from size 14 to size 6. And it's all because I did exactly what that nurse said. I knew it was going to be hard, but when she introduced me to the 2 tools that would help me accomplish that goal, it's been the easiest thing I've ever done. I'll never forget the day that after I had gotten my oldest brother started on this system, he called me up one day, and him and I are really close. Our family dynamic, we've always been close. We're a very tight-knit family, and I get along with all my siblings. And so my oldest brother, who started the system, he called me up one day and he's like, dude, and I'm like, what? He's like, this is the easiest thing I have ever done, and I'm losing numbers on the scale. And I was like, I know. I get up in the morning and I do this right here. While I'm drinking this, it's taking away the food noise. It's improving my blood pressure. It's enhancing my own GLP-1 hormone that is in our body. We already have a GLP-1 hormone, okay? Some people, they inject a synthetic version. This enhances my own GLP-1 by 70% when I am drinking this in a fasted state. Wow, right? This improves my cholesterol numbers. This improves my glucose spikes. It improves my digestion. It slows down my digestion, so I'm staying fuller longer, and I'm not spiking my glucose and my insulin. The fiber that I drink before my heaviest meal, this is giving me satiety. What is satiety? It just means that you're full, and it's prolonging that fullness in your stomach. So that way, if I have lunch with this fiber packet, I feel full, I feel satisfied, and I'm not going to the kitchen or through a drive-through or a convenience store or wherever to find a snack because I'm full, right? Thanksgiving Day, think about Thanksgiving Day. You eat Thanksgiving dinner until you're full and then beyond, and then we're like, oh my gosh, food coma, right? Our body tells us when to stop eating. We get that sense of fullness. The fiber gives me a sense of fullness. Not like Thanksgiving Day, unless I eat too much after I drink it, but I have fullness, and it lasts until my next meal. It lasts longer, so I'm not snacking. Remember I told you that the nurse told me you're going to have to cut out snacking. You're going to have to add more fiber. You have to cut out sugar. This is my powerhouse of tools right here. This is how I've done that. If you're a Gen Xer, you know, and especially if you're a female Gen Xer, you know how difficult it has been to lose 5 pounds, much less 50 pounds. I've lost 50. Prior to starting this system, I couldn't lose 5 and keep it off. I'd find it again. It would come back on. I got tired of eating salads all the time because I love food. Who doesn't? I love food. I got tired of just eating salads all the time. So now I have food freedom. I can eat the same foods that I used to enjoy. I just prioritize them differently, and I front load my meals with a fiber. So I'm not going to overeat. I'm not going to overindulge. I'm going to feel fuller longer, right? Today, let's see, what did I have to eat today? I went out to lunch with my mother, and I had breakfast for lunch. I had 3 eggs over medium. I had crispy bacon. I had a little bit of hash browns, and I even had a slice of sourdough toast. Does that sound like a diet to you? No, that doesn't sound like a diet to me. I front loaded it with this fiber packet, and I'm going to stay fuller longer. I'm not hungry now. I had lunch how many hours ago? I'm not even hungry right now, but had I not front loaded with this fiber packet, I would already be going to my refrigerator looking for something to eat because there was no fiber involved and I wasn't full. I wasn't satisfied. But because I front loaded it with this fiber packet, I am full. I'm satisfied. I'm drinking my tea. It's going to give me satiety as well. I'm not thinking about food right now. Matter of fact, I'm not hungry. And I ate almost 4 hours ago. I'm not even hungry. I'm not thinking about food. This helps me. And so does this. This is my powerhouse of tools. This is my toolkit right here. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have a big belly, if you're suffering with inflammation, if you're suffering with arthritis, men erectile dysfunction, ladies, if you're suffering with PCOS, if you're suffering with prediabetes, if you've been told you have insulin resistance, if you have migraine headaches or just severe headaches every single day, if you're getting up in the middle of the night 2 to 3 times a night to go to the bathroom, none of that is normal. If you're taking more than 2 medications, if you have one of these full of medications, 2 of them, maybe 3 of them, if you have senior parents like I do, and they're on a ton of these, that's not normal. That's not normal. My father was on 14, over-medicated, 14. He's been taken off of 10. He's down to 4. My mother was on 2 medications. She's been taken off of both. She's down to 0 medications. I was on 3 medications, all for high blood pressure. All for high blood pressure. I was in and out of the emergency room with my high blood pressure. It's been a 25-year career with me. I got tired of it. I got tired of the side effects that I was putting up with because of the 3 medications that I was taking. And brain fog was one of them. If you're in menopause, if you're perimenopause, if you're afraid of menopause, whether you're a man or a lady, men, you have to deal with it when we have it, right? I have a solution. I don't know what menopause symptoms are because my hormones have balanced out. I don't have anything that ladies that you might be experiencing with menopause or perimenopause. I don't have it. My hormones have balanced out. I'm here to help you. I'm here to tell you that there is hope. I thought there was no hope. I thought I am never going to find a solution to all the chronic issues that I'm having. I am going to become a grandmother and I'm going to age in pain on medications, chronic symptoms, chronic disease. That's just how it's supposed to be, isn't it? You get old and you hurt and you break, right? No. That's not how it's supposed to be. And I have proved that. My parents who are almost 80 have proved the same thing. They're not breaking anymore. They don't have chronic pain anymore. They don't have chronic symptoms anymore. They're not on a ton of medications anymore at 80 years old. They're almost there. I'm 57, and I'm proud of it. And I feel 20 years younger. I'm a Gen Xer. Are you a Gen Xer? Are you on a bunch of these? Have you collected a bunch of these? You tell me, what are you suffering with? And I'll tell you if it's related to insulin resistance or not. I challenge you to Google chronic disease and symptoms related to insulin resistance. See how many come up. There's a lot of them. This morning I did a live. I was on TikTok live and I was talking about we start out normal and then we develop pre-diabetes, which is insulin resistance. And then we graduate to type 2 diabetes. And then guess what? Now there's a type 3 diabetes. It's called Alzheimer's and dementia. How many of you have aging parents? How many of you have aging aunts, uncles? How many of you have aging grandparents? How many of them are on a bunch of these and experiencing pain every single day? Do you know one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about this? Because I work in senior living during the day. When I'm not doing this, I'm working in senior living. I see them with their canes and their walkers and their wheelchairs, and I see all the many medications, and some of them have 3 of these full. They're on so many medications, they can't even remember all of them. And it doesn't have to be that way, and it's such an easy fix. If you get to the root cause, you'll find that many of these things right here, they all have one thing in common. That one right there. This one causes heart disease. This one's the root cause of obesity, root cause of migraines, root cause dementia, root cause osteoarthritis. What's the root cause of childhood obesity? This right here. What's the root cause of PCOS? Ladies, do you know someone who's struggling to get pregnant? The number 1 cause of infertility is PCOS, but the root cause is insulin resistance. Root cause fatty liver, there it is again. Root cause arthritis, because it causes inflammation. The root cause Alzheimer's is too much sugar in the brain. Too much glucose in the brain is Alzheimer's and dementia. Erectile dysfunction, men, if there's any men listening and watching, did you know? Have you done your studying? If you're struggling in this area right here, just know that the root cause is this right here. Inflammation. It causes your vessels to do this, right? Right? Root cause, insulin resistance. Sarcopenia, root cause. High blood pressure, that was me. Finally figured out after 25 years of struggling with high blood pressure and bouncing around from medication to medication to medication. I spent 25 years in and out of doctor offices, on and off of different medications, taking off of work to go to appointments. I wasted so much time. I wished I'd have known 25 years ago that this was around, and it was. It's been around for 30 years, 30 plus years this has been around. I wished I would have known about it. Select 2 objects that are the same shape. That one and this one. Confirm. The things that TikTok does. Okay. I wished I'd have known back then that this was even a thing, because I could have saved myself so much time, money, trips to the ER, prescription medications that were causing so many side effects. Type 2 diabetes, insulin resistance, stroke, insulin resistance, heart disease. They all of these have this thing in common: insulin resistance. And now I know. And now I get to share my story, my wellness story with whoever, 4 of you that are in the video, the live watching with me. And I don't know how many of you haven't tapped on the live, but you're watching. But you know what? I hope there's something that I say that encourages you to pay attention to your health, because if you don't, you're going to end up with type 2 diabetes or type 3 diabetes. And type 3 diabetes is glucose in the brain, and that's Alzheimer's and dementia. Go volunteer at a senior living community or a nursing home. Go volunteer there. And everything I'm telling you, you will see. You will see elderly using walkers, using canes, in a wheelchair, on a bunch of these. My parents are elderly. They're going to be 80 in August. Just because you're aging doesn't mean it has to hurt. Just because you're aging doesn't mean you have to be on a bunch of these. You don't have to. If you would just get to the root cause, which is insulin resistance, that's what's causing all the drama. That is why chronic illness and disease led this metabolic scientist, Dr. Benjamin Bikman, to write this book, Why We Get Sick. Do you want to know the kind of chapters that are in this book? What is insulin resistance and why does it matter? What makes us insulin resistant in the first place? How can we fight insulin resistance? And then the chapters are what is insulin resistance, heart health, the brain and neurological disorders associated with it, productive health, reproductive health, RECNAC, which is the C word spelled backwards, aging, the skin, muscles, bones, gastrointestinal and kidney health. Why are we all getting sick? If you go back to the 1920s and 1930s, did they struggle? Did they struggle with all of this right here? Were there 88 million people? Was this even a thing? Pre-diabetes, diabetes, type 3 diabetes wasn't even a thing. Why are we all getting sick? One of the reasons is because, like Dr. Benjamin Bikman explains, fiber has been taken out of our food supply. Why? Because they need it to last longer on the shelf and they need it to be really inexpensive. Think of an apple. An apple is wrapped in fiber, the peel, right? You put that apple on the shelf for a year, it's going to be rotted out, shriveled up, right? Because the bugs will have gotten to it. It's just going to deteriorate. You take a packaged or a barcoded, boxed package, what they call food in the grocery store, and look at the expiration date, and sometimes it's 2, 3, 5 years out because they've taken the fiber out. Is it really food if it's boxed and packaged with a barcode? Real food is not packaged and it's not barcoded. Real food. But they've taken the fiber out of our food supply, so it's cheaper and it lasts longer on the shelf. And that has created chronic health issues. Chronic health issues. And I remember going into a doctor's office, I don't know, probably when I was pregnant with one of my children. And I remember watching videos in the lobby, and they were supposed to be educational. And the videos would promote healthy eating diets for pregnant women. And they would always say, try to eat, keep your metabolism up, whatever, good for the baby, whatever they were saying. And I just remember it saying something like, eating 3 to 4 meals a day and snacks in between because of the baby. You got to, you're eating for 2, right? Keep your metabolism up, whatever. If that worked, if that was true, whether it was in OBGYN office or not, let's just pretend it wasn't. Let's pretend it was in a physical therapy department and they were just promoting healthy eating, right? If what they were promoting to eat 2, 3, 4 meals a day, I think it was more like 3 to 4 meals a day, and snacks in between to keep your metabolism up, wouldn't that mean that the obesity almost wouldn't be present? Because we're really good at eating all day long, aren't we? 3 to 4 meals a day, snacks in between. If that was the answer, then why are we at alarming rates of obesity and chronic symptoms and dis-ease if that worked? But haven't y'all heard that before? Haven't you gone to the doctor and sometimes they're giving you eating advice and they'll tell you eat 3 to 4, eat more frequently. Eat 3 to 4 meals a day with snacks in between, 6 small meals a day to keep your metabolism up. Okay, well, I think the United States of America, we're really good at eating. We know how to do it really well. I mean, we've got Costco and Sam's. We buy in bulk. We're really good at it. But if that was the key, how come obesity is on the rise like no other? Like our children are obese now. We are training our children based on the fast food diet that they're on at school in the public school system. We're training our kids to become diabetic. Yeah, I said that. Based on the meal plan that they are giving the children in public schools. Have you ever looked at that? Parents, do you pay attention to the lunch menus? We're training our children to become diabetic. We're training our children to become diabetic. Just look at what's on the menu. Look at what's on the menu. That's why type 2 diabetes is being diagnosed in children at an alarming rate. Non-alcoholic fatty liver disease is being diagnosed in children at an alarming rate. Too much insulin creates FAT to grow, to manufacture. When that's going on, now you're getting a non-alcoholic fatty liver. We're training our children to become diabetic. It pains me. It pains me when I see children with a giant size Slurpee drinking it, drinking up all that sugar. I don't think the parents realize, because I didn't. I did not realize what my children were actually, what I was doing to them when I took them through the drive-thru to get a McDonald's shake because they did good at school that day. I didn't realize that I was training my children to have insulin resistance, basically, when I was feeding them mac and cheese for dinner and thought that that was a dinner because it was quick and easy. Like when I think back to how I fed my kids, okay, I'm 57, my kids are all grown, 33, 29, 25. I look back at how I used to feed my children. I wish I could go back and change it. I get emotional about it because I could have done better. I mean, I didn't know. I thought that that was normal. Like, okay, let's go through the drive-thru. Let's get McDonald's on the way to the football game or whatever we were doing. Let's have mac and cheese. Okay, we're at a restaurant. Oh, you want mac and cheese? That's easy. Kids love that. Cheese, mac and cheese, pasta, right? I didn't realize, though, that what I was really doing, like every time, they would do good at school when they were little, I would take them through the drive-thru. Hey, let's go get a shake because I'm so proud of you. Mommy's so proud of you. Let's go get a shake. Sugar. Cereal boxes, sugar. Oatmeal, bad. I never learned how to really feed my children for good health. And I wish I could go back. So now when I see mamas taking their kids to the drive-through to get McDonald's, Burger King, Chick-fil-A even. Yes, I said it. And they have the big giant chocolate shakes in their hand and they're drinking it, or they take them to the 7-Eleven or whatever to get the big giant Slurpees, or they go to Sonic and they get them the large whatever. We're training our children to become diabetic because of all the glucose. The glucose is rising in their bloodstream. The insulin is trying to save the day, and eventually over time, your body becomes resistant to the insulin. The insulin's job is to take the glucose out of the bloodstream and give it to the cells for energy. But the cells, they become resistant to the insulin because they're like, no, you just did that. You just brought us some glucose an hour and a half ago. We don't need any more. And then your body becomes resistant to that insulin. And then guess what? Your pancreas secretes more insulin to try to save the day, to try to be the hero. And then we have too much glucose and insulin. And then our liver becomes fatty liver. And then we get the fat all around our organs, the visceral fat. And then we have inflammation. And when we have inflammation and things go from like this to this, then we have erectile dysfunction. And then the inflammation creates PCOS. And with that inflammation comes arthritis, bursitis, swollen ankles, swollen knees. And with that inflammation comes migraine headaches. And with the insulin resistance comes the dark patches on the skin, on the elbows and on the knuckles and behind the neck like I had. And then you're growing skin tags in your folds, under your arms, under your breast, in your growing area, on your neck. I had the skin tags. This morning you missed a really good live. This morning I talked about the progression of diabetes, starting with pre-diabetes, type 2 diabetes, type 3 diabetes. Hey, Metabolic Misty, hi. Thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. So this morning, I even wowed myself. And I don't do that very often, but I wowed myself. I was like, wow, that was a really good live topic. I talked about the progression from pre-diabetes to type 2 diabetes to type 3 diabetes, what that looks like, what your body can experience. And it was really good. It was a lot of good information because I used to be pre-diabetic. I didn't know I had pre-diabetes. And by the way, doctors will tell you that if they tell you you're pre-diabetic, you're not pre-anything. There's no such thing as pre. You're just diabetic. You're diabetic. And I was that. I was diabetic. I turned it around. I put my struggle bus in the reverse. And I'm not that anymore. I don't have the high blood pressure anymore. But it's because I got to the root cause. It's because that nurse that I was listening to, who has a passion for people and helping people get off of these right here. She has a passion for people. She loves people. She loves helping people. That's why she became a nurse, right? But even though she was a diabetes educator, she has said before, it's sad that I was a diabetes educator. This is the nurse talking, not me. That she was a diabetes educator and had no idea about any of this. She didn't know. I know registered dietitians that's what they do. They coach you in how to eat for wellness. They had no idea that this was an issue, that this was even a thing. I know a brain surgeon. I know personally a brain surgeon. He had no idea that this was even a thing to consider, that insulin resistance could be the root cause of all these things. I know MDs. I know pharmacists. I know endocrinologists, that they all say the same thing. They had no idea that this should even be on the radar. They had no idea. Nurses, registered dietitian, brain surgeons, pharmacists, pediatricians, MDs. Who did I miss? I think I got them all. I might have missed one or two. I know them personally who needed the system themselves because they were struggling with high cholesterol. They were struggling with glucose spikes. They were struggling with type 2 diabetes. They were struggling with A1C numbers going crazy. They were struggling with high blood pressure. Someone told them about this system. They got on it. They had no training in this whatsoever. They didn't even know it was a thing. I know these medical professionals personally. They got on the system, their A1C balanced out, their cholesterol numbers balanced out, their high blood pressure balanced out, their glucose spikes, insulin spikes balanced out. And then as a bonus, they started shrinking a little bit like I did. I started shrinking. I went from size 14 to size 6. And it was because that nurse showed me how to get this under control through this and this. An all-natural system. Imagine that. It's not a medication, and it tastes good. An all-natural system. A system that is at the fingertips of your doctor, your endocrinologist, your pediatrician, even for your children. Your pediatrician, your endocrinologist, your cardiologist, your medical doctor, your OB-GYN, your GYN, your gastroenterologist, your urologist, your, what are the RECNAC doctors? What are they called when you have RECNAC, the C word spelled backwards? What are those doctors called? Help me. Yes, Dr. Eric. Yes, Misty. What are those doctors called that you go to when you have RECNAC, the C word, spelled backwards? What is it? Someone knows. I know someone knows. Hi, Stephen. Vicky, hi. Deborah, hi. What are those doctors called? I have to go to my... I can't think of it. Okay, y'all know. Oncologist, thank you, Anna. Is it Anna or Anna? Oncologist, yes. Your oncologist. They all have access to this knowledge because every doctor, every pharmacist, every specialist, they go to the PDR.net, which is an online reference system. It used to be called the Physician's Desk Reference, and it was a book about that thick, and it sat on their desk. And they would open it up when they were going to prescribe you a medication to make sure what they were prescribing would interact well with what you were already taking. Well, guess what? This system is in that reference that they go to. It's now called the Prescriber's Digital Reference. You can even look up what prescriptions you're on. You can go to pdr.net. Type in your medication that you're on, only if you're ready to see the warning signs, the black box warnings, the side effects, only if you're brave enough to see, because most of the time we go pick up our prescription and we toss it in our purse or in the back seat until we get home. We don't ever read the papers that come with it that tell us about the black box warnings or the side effects, right? This has no side effects. This doesn't have any black box warning, and this can be taken with any and all medications. The crazy thing is that every doctor, every trained physician, every pharmacist has access to the PDR.net just like we do. That's where they prescribe medications from. This is in the PDR.net. Amazing, right? So that means if you go to your doctor and you say, hey, doctor, I was thinking about maybe taking Unicity Unimate to help improve my high blood pressure. What do you think? They're going to go, I don't know what that is. Oh, you don't? Okay, well, it's in the PDR.net. Do you think you can look it up really quick and tell me, does it have any side effects or any adverse reactions with medications I'm already on? What can I expect by taking that? They'll look it up. And they're going to be pleasantly surprised that it can do the same thing as a high blood pressure medication can do, as a cholesterol medication can do, a statin. The same thing that a glucose spike medication can do. If you're struggling with those glucose spikes, you got to read between the lines because there's certain things I can't say. It can do the same thing. So some of these that my dad was on, the reason he was able to come off of them was because this was doing the same thing with no side effects. This was doing the same thing. And your doctors have this information at their fingertips in the pdr.net, but they don't know it's there. They do not know that it's there. I mean, that's like someone saying, I'm a Christian and I don't have the Bible memorized, right? They're a doctor, but they're not going to go memorize the PDR, the physician's desk reference, the prescriber's digital reference. They're not going to memorize it, right? So what they don't know, they don't know. They can't tell you about something that they don't know. If you don't know Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, you can't tell someone about it, right? If you don't know all the medications and options, nutraceutical options that are in the prescriber's digital reference, you can't share about it if you don't know. So it's not like it's their fault or they're a bad doctor. They just don't know. They don't know that it's there. That's why I'm here, to help you learn this information and do with it what you will. I mean, okay, this is how it is. High blood pressure, natural option, chemical option, no side effects, multiple side effects, black box warning, no black box warning. I said that backwards. No black box warning, black box warning, right? This can take care of several things. So this can take care of high blood pressure. It can take care of cholesterol, normalizing cholesterol numbers, normalizing glucose spikes, normalizing, what is it? I drew a blank. Cholesterol, high blood pressure, insulin resistance. There's another one. All in one tea and one fiber packet. Or, like me, I was taking 3 medications for one problem that was causing many side effects, that had I gone back to the doctor to complain about those side effects, I'm sure they would have given me more of these, right? Natural, chemical, 0 side effects, no black box warning, black box warning. There is a, I think I posted it here on this platform on TikTok. And what I did is I did a screen sharing and I showed what, I went to pdr.net and I typed in one of the GLP-1 medications that are being prescribed. And I showed on my screen sharing all the side effects and the black box warning that came with that. And then I showed this. I typed in Unicity Unimate and all the side effects, which were 0, and the black box warning, which was none, that came with it. You can look them up in the same reference. And I know there's a lot of people that choose to go on a GLP-1. I was even communicating with another TikToker, and she was asking for her audience feedback, and she was talking about how she was thinking about taking a GLP-1 because she had heard that it helped with autoimmune disease. And I was like, hold on just a second, sorry. Oh, okay. There was somebody walking by my backyard towards the gate. And I was like, who are you? I don't know you. She was talking about how, she wanted her audience to give her feedback, those that had been on a GLP-1, and because she suffers with autoimmune, and she had heard that the GLP-1s can help with the autoimmune. And I reached out to her and I told her, I said, hey, I love your content, and I love her content, and she has a very pleasant voice to listen to. And I just love watching her videos. And so I reached out to her and I said, hey, my mother used to suffer with autoimmune. And I introduced my mother to this system right here. It's all natural. There's no side effects. There's no black box warning. And my mother no longer suffers with autoimmune. So I gave her a solution to a problem that was all natural, right? But I believe that she chose to go the chemical version, the GLP-1 synthetic version that has side effects, that has a black box warning. Anytime we agree to take a medication that has a black box warning, it's like spinning the Wheel of Fortune on the game show. You don't know where it's going to land. On the Wheel of Fortune, they spin the wheel and they're either going to win or they're going to lose. And that's how I feel like what we're doing with black box warning medications. You spin the wheel and you're either going to win or you're going to lose. And you have no idea which one you're going to land on. And there are so many people that are going on social media now. It's amazing to me that there are so many people telling their story, their nightmare story about how they went on a synthetic GLP-1 and how it wreaked havoc on their body. And yet they're still promoting the GLP-1, the synthetic GLP-1s, and there are still people that are running to it, knowing that they have a black box warning, knowing that there's major side effects that can go wrong. And we introduce them to this, and we tell them about this, that it's all natural. There's no side effects. Your doctor can recommend it. There's no black box warning. And they will still go to the GLP-1. Now, if you were to talk to someone who had a bad experience with the GLP-1, the synthetic version, this enhances my own GLP-1 hormone that God gave me. It like wakes it up. It turns the food noise off. That's what a GLP-1 does. It's a hormone and it turns the food noise off. You're not getting the signal to the brain that, hey, you're hungry, go eat, go eat, go eat, go eat. This enhances my own GLP-1, that hormone. The synthetic version, the injections, they're injecting synthetic hormone into their body. And you know, I have to be so careful because I don't want to judge anybody. Everybody gets to pick and choose what is best for their body. But sometimes I wonder if the risk, is that really the best route? I don't know. And I don't want to judge. And I know I have to be so careful. And there could even be viewers right now that are watching me that are on a synthetic version of GLP-1. And I just challenge you, go to the pdr.net. Even if you know someone, if you have a girlfriend, if you have a close friend, a family member that is on a synthetic version of a GLP-1, go to pdr.net, type it in the search bar, hit return, hit enter, and see what you find. You can type this in there too, Unicity Unimate, Unicity Balance. There's no black box warnings. It's natural. My mother doesn't have autoimmune disease anymore because of this. My dad doesn't have high blood pressure, diverticulitis, IBS, depression, type 2 diabetes because of this natural tea and this natural fiber. It's amazing. It was created by Rexall Drugs. It has a 90-day money-back guarantee. 90 days. They say give it 90 days. If you take your age and multiply it times 365 days a year, mine is over 20,000. So I've had 20,000 days to train my body to be the way it was a year and a half ago. 15 months on this system. And it really only took about I want to say 7 to 9 months to really like clean everything up, clear everything up, get rid of, come off of. It really took about 7 to 9 months. I've been on the system for almost 16 months now. And it's been amazing. And I don't know what else to say other than I feel 20 years younger, and my health has improved so much that I don't have to take the 3 high blood pressure medications anymore, and I don't have the symptoms that I had chronically. You know, my dad that I talk about all the time, he had type 2 diabetes for 40 plus years. My sister, I don't know, she might have been 25 years with type 2 diabetes, and it's not genetic, it's a dietary disease. Type 2 diabetes is a dietary disease. That means we're eating all the wrong things, all the wrong times, too much. My dad ate his way there, but not one doctor in that 40 plus years tried to help my father figure out what the root problem was of his type 2 diabetes, of his diverticulitis, of his IBS, his high blood pressure. I'm not medically trained. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nurse. I have zero medical training other than I can save your life if you need CPR. But I don't have medical training. I just share my journey, my experience, what has worked for our family. Out of those 40 plus years, not one doctor tried to put all the pieces of the puzzle together for my dad and say, this is why you have all these things right here, because you have insulin resistance. And insulin resistance is causing your type 2 diabetes, which is inflammation, which is IBS, which is high blood pressure, depression, anxiety, diverticulitis. All of that have one thing in common: insulin resistance. They all have that in common. And we know this now because when we got to that root problem, when we got to the insulin resistance and we learned how to become insulin sensitive, all those things went away. So I had no medical training, and here I come at age 56 and I tell my dad, hey Dad, guess what? I got something for you I want to try, because if you don't try it, you're probably going to die. Because he was hanging on by a thread in May last year. So I mean that literally. Like, if we didn't intercede and start my dad on this system, he would not be here today. I am convinced of that. So we started him on this system, and my dad's still here. He is still here. His health has improved. His quality of life has improved. He is a different person. Go check out the pinned video on my channel. Go check it out. There's a before and after. And those pictures were taken, the after picture was taken after just 4 months on this system. Right here. My dad has been taken off of 10 of his 14 medications. 10 of these. He no longer has to take them. His doctor took him off of them because they did blood work, and they're like, okay, we don't need to take this one, this one, this one, this one, this one's 10 of them. You don't need to take these anymore. Yep. So, you have choices. There are options, number one. That's why I'm here today, because I'm trying to wake people up to the fact that there are alternative options that even your own doctor can agree and recommend to you and tell you, yes, this can do the same thing that a GLP-1 can do. Yes, this can do the same thing that high blood pressure medication can do. Yes, this can do the same thing that cholesterol medication can do. This can do the same thing that diabetic medication can do. Even your own doctor, the one that you go to get examined, the one you get naked for them to do a physical examination, that one, that person has access to this information. They can recommend it, but they don't know what they don't know. So this is why I get on here, because I helped my dad get rid of all those things that I just mentioned. What is it? It's called the Feel Great System. Thank you, NS Jones, for asking. And I hope you haven't been asking and I just didn't see it. Puddy, P-U-D-D-Y. My name is spelled P-A-D-D-Y. Okay, thank you for asking. You are now my new best friend. NS Jones, let me tell you. It's called the Feel Great System. And you know, just like anything else, you can go to my link that's in my bio, and you can click on it and you can order it through there. That's what I did. I was so desperate. I was like, okay, something has to change. And I was willing to take a chance. And I did. I took a chance on an RN, a nurse, and I ordered and I got it for her same discount because I used her link on TikTok. I get to offer my discounted rate. I don't pay a penny less than y'all. When you order it through my link, you are paying the same discounted price that I am paying. And I'm going to show you how to order. It's called the Feel Great System. When you order it, I automatically become your coach. I get to answer all your questions for free. There's no fee, there's no charge. I'm not going to try to sell you a book or online anything. I get to be your coach. I get to add you to some Facebook groups where all those medical professionals that I know that I told you about, they're in that group. So when you go in that Facebook group and you have a question, 9 times out of 10, it's a medical professional who's going to answer. And so I'm going to show you really quick what that looks like. Let me turn my volume down. Okay. This is where we're at right here, right? This is what you're looking at. See my picture right here? You're going to click on that picture. See my picture right here with my cat? Click on the picture again. And then there's a link. That link right there, that hyperlink. You're going to click on it. And it's going to take you to my webpage. And you're going to click on Buy Now. And it says referred by Patty Parks. That's me. When you get to this page, you're going to scroll. And it's going to ask you to pick your tea flavor. Pick your tea flavor. I recommend the lemon. It's the #1. You to pick your tea flavor. Pick your tea flavor. I recommend the lemon. It's the #1 choice. Your #2 choice is orange. You have to pick your fiber flavor. So you have orange or mixed berry. You pick your flavors and then you go to add to cart. Once you add to cart, I recommend the monthly subscription because you get an additional $10 savings and free shipping. It basically, to get your health back and to come off of maybe medications and get rid of chronic issues that you're experiencing, it's $5 and change a day. $5 and change a day. $5 and change a day. In a whole day, $5 and change. So let's see, I had headaches, splotchy skin, skin tags, I had insulin resistance, I had bloating, I had inflammation, swollen ankles, swollen knees, bursitis, arthritis, getting up in the middle of the night 2 to 3 times a night, sleepless nights, I could not sleep, I had brain fog. All of that is gone for $5 and some change a day. Yep. I was spending $10 to $15 at the coffee house right across the street from where I live to buy a very sugary coffee that was very bad for my health and a slice of their banana nut loaf. And you know where I'm talking about. They have a green emblem. I was going there every single day and sometimes on the weekends. $10 to $15 a day. So I was pretty serious about improving my health. I want to be around for my grandbabies. One of these days I'm going to have grandbabies and I want to be around for them. I want to be present. I want to be healthy to go to all the things and experience life with my grandbabies. I can't do that if my health is poor. And I was heading down that road. I decided to turn it around in the name of my grandchildren that aren't even born yet or created, I think. I'm just kidding. I want to be there for for my grandbabies. And so I turned it around. I gave up that coffee, $10 to $15 a day for the coffee and the slice of the banana nut, depending on what size I got, what size coffee. $10 to $15 a day, y'all. I took that same money, quit going to that coffee house, and now I use it over here for something that's actually healthy for me. Healthy, improved my health tremendously for $5 and some change a day. Did my dad think it was worth it to get rid of his type 2 diabetes, diverticulitis, IBS, high blood pressure, neuropathy for $5 and some change a day? Yeah, he sure did. My mother, she got rid of her autoimmune disease, high blood pressure, neuropathy. Do you think it was worth it to her for $5 and change a day? Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm not buying as many groceries as I used to buy because, remember, I'm not snacking during the day because I feel full longer with the fiber. This takes away the food noise, so I'm not thinking about snacking during the day. I'm not thinking, what can I eat next? What can I go snack on? I need some potato chips. I need some M&Ms. I need a donut. I need pasta. I'm not thinking about that because of this right here for $5 and some change a day. It was worth it. It was so worth it. It was so worth it to me because I feel amazing. I feel 20 years younger. I'm 57. I don't feel 57. I feel 20 years younger. So, JC, thank you for joining. NS Jones says, thank you for the info. I'll go check it out. Please do. And if I can send you more information beyond what's on that webpage, I would love to do that. I have access to some videos on YouTube that actually explain the science behind it. They're amazing, well put videos, and they're put on by medical professionals, many of them I know, and the videos offer a lot of information, and I would love to send one to you. It's a 10-minute video, so it's not a long video at all. But if you would like that video, I have to send it to an email or a cell phone number because you know TikTok doesn't allow us to share that kind of information in the DMs. So if you're interested, JS Jones, and you want that 10-minute video, I would love to send it to you. It'll give you a lot more information, and I have to send it to an email or a cell phone number. So just let me know. Send me a direct message and let me know. All right, y'all, I'm going to have to jump off. I have a dinner date tonight, and I've got to go get ready for that. So y'all have an amazing evening. I will be live again tomorrow morning. I am usually live every single morning, Monday through Friday, between 8 and 8:15. If you're not following me, give me a follow, because that way you'll get a notification if you turn them on that I am live. And so I usually have a different topic. Something that I have learned on my journey. This morning we talked about the progression of diabetes from start to finish, and it was really a wonderful live. And I'm glad that I have the video of it because I'm going to share it on FB. It's very informative, and I think that people can benefit from it, I'm sure. RS Jones, enjoy your dinner and have a great night. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Y'all have an amazing evening. Thank you for sticking around and watching. If you want more information, I have a 10-minute video that I can send to you, not just for RS Jones, but for anybody that's watching. Let me know. Drop me a DM and let me know if you want to, or put it in the comments that you would like the video, because I can read the comments later. Excuse me, and I can send it out to you, but I need an email or a cell phone number to send it to. So just keep that in mind. Y'all have an amazing evening. I'll see you tomorrow morning if you're there with me in the morning between 8 and 8:15. Y'all have a great evening. Talk to you later. Bye.